We're gonna have a country that's unified. We're gonna bring everybody together. We want it all back.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Today is March 14th, 2025. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. Come on in. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. Also, if you're catching this on the replay, you'll probably see timestamps. Been doing that. People have been liking it, so we'll continue with the timestamps. The timestamps will be at the bottom in the description of this video. Check them out if you want to fast forward, rewind, do whatever you got to do. But before you do all that, go ahead and make sure that you smash the like button, share, subscribe, because we are in the battle with the YouTube algorithms. Before we jump into everything, what is up? What is up, everybody? Quick roll call. What is up, Patrick? What is up, Jason? What is up, Steph? Steph in the house. My mind in the house. Before we even started, Patrick Kennedy with the 4-month membership. Let's go. Kudos. Let's go. I love it. Thank you for supporting the channel. Really appreciate you guys. Let me give a kudos right here. There we go. Patrick Kennedy. What's up, Terry? I got my turn that off. There we go. What is up? All right. Hopefully everybody had a good day today. I want to know in the chat, did you guys have a solid day today? I had actually the past couple weeks have been crazy. Real estate's picking up. It has been very interesting. It has been very interesting to say the least. What is up, Roger? Roger in the house. Before we jump in, I want to say shout out to the moderators in the chat. Without you guys, none of this is possible. And kudos to the everybody catching this on the live. Really appreciate you guys. This week has been bananas. Patrick Kennedy says, last beer, then bed. There we go. It's Friday. Real estate's been picking up. Looked at a couple properties over the past couple days. Looking at a few properties to acquire and potentially flip since the market is kind of scaling up. So like to do that before summertime hits, because after summertime, it's kind of dead. Christmas comes, it just gets kind of dead. So again, smash the like button, share, subscribe. Trump Tower occupation was insane. They all got arrested immediately. That's what Jason said. Yeah, yesterday they were protesting. They went into Trump Towers and they were yelling Nazi slurs and all this other stuff. It was crazy to me. I can't believe people act that way. Don't they got to go to school, or don't they have a job or something like that? It's crazy. Terry said today was definitely interesting in this household, to say the least. Hopefully everything's okay. Yeah. Let us know what's going on if you're open to share. Steph says, awesome, Tyson. Glad the market is getting better for you. Thank you. Thank you. Over the past actually 16 months has been crazy. 16 months in the real estate market, probably up until October of last year, was absolutely crazy. But crazy in a bad way, by the way. Crazy in a bad way. Wasn't the best market. Interest rates went up and things like that. Affordability. The affordability is a big thing, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that. The affordability. JD has had some conversations about that. Jason says, egg prices are lower. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I had some eggs today. I love eggs. I love eggs. Gloria in the house protesting for Democrats is their job. You know they get paid. Yes, they do. I wonder how much they get paid. Because remember those Kamala Harris audience members at her rallies, they were shipping folks in. They were getting free hot dogs, they were getting free coffee, they were getting free donuts just to show up to a Kamala Harris rally. Then they ran out of donuts, Megan Thee Stallion hops on stage, and all the people leave. Stephanie says, that's probably their job. They found the gig on Craigslist. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Let's dive in today. Gas prices in Ohio under $3. Today, $2.88 cash at Race Fuel 88 regular grade. That is awesome. I actually filled up today. I filled up today at Sam's Club. My buddy has a Sam's Club membership. Needed some gas. He said, "Hey, let's pull over to the side here. We'll go to Sam's Club and we'll get some gas." So I got some gas. All right, let's jump into this real quick. So Trump's crew has been swinging to the fences. Pam Bondi leading the charge. Former Florida AG went scorched earth in this next video that I'm going to show you guys on the Tesla vandalism. She also showed up at the DOJ with some fake fentanyl. She said, "We're coming after you. We are coming after you." Meanwhile, JD is dropping bombs, telling hecklers straight up, illegal immigrants are the reason why house prices are so high and the reason why America can't afford a roof. Vance didn't stop there. He defended Trump's strategy while taking screams from the left about the recession and the trade war. DOGE HQ, Elon Musk peeling back the curtain on grotesque levels of government waste. Think billions and billions of dollars flushed down on projects that would make a toddler's lemonade stand look efficient. Elon's slicing fat faster than a butcher on payday. The Dems are absolutely imploding like a bad sitcom. Tim Walz is back in the news. Tim Walz is scrambling to red districts for town halls, whining about the DOGE cuts while drinking coffee and screaming, "I peaked in 2024. Good luck, Timmy. I don't think anybody's buying your sob stories. Then there's the Schumer and AOC heated debacle that happened. AOC's out here calling Schumer a traitor over the shutdown. And then we're going to talk about Florida. Florida had the biggest fentanyl bust to date so far. Deputies say it is street poison and it was a jackpot for them. Mugshots all over the place. Then we got the diddler in the news. Sean P. Diddy Combs, haven't heard him in a while. We got some linkage with a police officer and Sean Diddy Combs. Trump is keeping his promises, still continued to make his promises. Promises made, promises kept. And making those liberals tear up, those salty liberal tears. Then we're going to talk about a Texas megachurch founder, Robert Morris, that just got indicted for child sex charges. Guess those prayers didn't work too well. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett chatted. We're going to catch a little bit of her. Here's the deal. Bondi's hunting Vandals. Vance is owning hecklers. And Elon is gutting the government waste. Let's jump into this, shall we?
Everyone knows these court cases are bullshit. Deranged psychopath Jack Smith and the flaming homosexual FBI planted the fake documents in Trump's Palm Beach property, and only a low-level retard would believe otherwise. The Stormy Daniels case is a sad story about a washed-up hooker trying to extort money from Trump before she's too old to peddle her ass in the back of dirty strip clubs. The E. Jean Carroll case is another sad story about an unfuckable psychotic woman who is desperate for money and attention, and she named her cat
Vagina.
The January 6th trial in D.C. is another hot, steaming pile of bullfish by the unhinged lunatic Jack Smith. Any rioting which took place that day was instigated and led by some very, very gay FBI agents. It's funny how they always seem to overlook the part where Donald Trump said, peacefully and patriotically.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
The Fulton County, Georgia case is too stupid to even mention, other than the fact that it's being run by a big booty hood rat with very sad-looking titties who got in way over her own stupid head. Truth is, nobody in their right mind gives a shit about these court cases. The people are voting for Trump because they want lower taxes, lower inflation, a stronger economy, secure borders, less tyranny, and world peace. The outcome of these stupid court cases holds no influence.
All right, we are jumping into Pam Bondi. I was just reading the comments. Michael Upton driving the 10-ton truck with 20-mile-an-hour winds, man. Be safe. Be safe. Get your money, man. Driving countryside with the 10-ton truck, 20-mile-an-hour winds from the south. Be safe, man. He says, home now. Jason says, how the hell can a state judge order the president of the United States to do anything? That doesn't make any sense. You're telling me. Stephanie says, Maxine Waters gets on my nerves all day. She does. She's dusty, man. She's bitter. She's upset. She's angry. What is up, Grant? My mind said I saw some ice in my neighborhood yesterday. And he's not talking about the weather kind. He's talking about ice. Were they getting folks, man? Were they getting the folks? Oh, man. Mike Upton says, I work for an Amish man delivering animal feed. Gives me milk, eggs. That is an amazing perk, man. That's an awesome perk. Otherwise, he's selling eggs for $3. I'm blessed. That's super cool. I like that. What a cool trade. Eggs and milk. Does he have butter too? I'm a big fan of Amish butter. Let's jump into Pam Bondi. She says it's a no holds barred against the Tesla vandalisms. We're gonna jump in and out of this one, but I haven't watched this whole one, so let's watch this.
To be with you.
And of course, you sat and testified under oath to the Senate Judiciary Committee, the same thing, that you would only follow the facts and the law. Tell us how you will de-weaponize the DOJ.
Well, Maria, we've been doing it since day one, and we're going to continue to do that. President Trump's mission was very clear. His directive was make America safe again. That's what we're going to do. No more weaponization. We're going to go back to fighting basic crime, getting these cartels out of our country by securing our borders, prosecuting the worst of the worst, seizing the drugs, which is what President Trump has directed us to do since the second he's been in office, and lock up the violent criminals as long as we can behind bars, or seek the death penalty. And that's what we've been doing. You know, we've signed death warrants. We've to seek the death penalty since he's been in office. It's not business as usual. We are going back to the basics, fighting violent crime. And taking these drugs off the street is the main component of keeping our kids safe.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, because people have been afraid to walk the streets, basically, because there's no accountability. You have to go to the drugstore and find your toothpaste locked up. Tell me how you're going to do it and what you can tell us.
I've saw some videos, people locking up deodorant. Gina in the Discord chat, if you're not part of the Discord link, tap into that. It's in the description down below, but they're locking up deodorant. What? Toothpaste?
It's about the president's speech today at the DOJ.
Yeah, you know, he has never been to the Department of Justice.
That's amazing.
And it's right, and I can't wait for him to be there to show that he is going to make America safe, that he has been making America safe. Just since he's been in office, 2,000 kilos of fentanyl have been taken off the streets. It's crazy what he's done. 18,000 kilos of methamphetamine. These are the things that are killing our kids from coast to coast, whether it's St. Louis to 170,000 pills of fentanyl in Utah. That's one life per pill. And he has been fighting drugs, fighting the cartels, and we are going to keep America safe. And, you know, the weaponization has ended. They are trying to weaponize against Elon Musk, and we are not going to let that happen either.
Well, that's right. And we saw all the vandalism to the Tesla cars this week. President Trump will reportedly invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which allows him to fast-track deportations of criminals that are illegal migrants. ICE also arrested more than 32,000 illegal migrants in the first 50 days of the president's second term, including those 14,000 convicted of crimes. AG, I want to get your take on how you're going to do this, because you're facing pushback, right? The sanctuary cities are saying, no, 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 no. We are sanctuary. We're going to continue sanctuary. So where is the accountability for some of these sanctuary cities that are working against you?
Yeah, well, you're seeing what's happening. We're suing them. We're suing the states. They will no longer be sanctuary cities. We will come in there. We will arrest you. We will prosecute you. We will deport you. If you've committed a crime, you will go to prison in our country for as long as possible. If you're an illegal alien, we will deport you. It's that simple. That's what's been happening. Our federal government is working great now. You know, these liberal mayors, governors, we're not going to put up with it. I've warned them. If they're not listening, they will continue. We will continue to sue them. We will continue to pull their federal funding until they comply with federal law, because our job is to make America safe again. And I don't know how, Maria, they can quarrel with that.
Well, I mean, you're sending messages out that, you know, there will be accountability. And I think everyone has to agree that you want accountability for people who are, you know, trafficking drugs and humans. So that's great. But we also have seen real weaponization against President Trump, against the Republicans over the last 10 years. That's right. I lived it, the Russia collusion story. Will anyone be held accountable for the Russia collusion lie that the Clinton campaign and the Democrats came up with against President Trump that ripped our country apart?
Maria, when we say we're ending the weaponization, we're ending it. People will be held accountable who weaponized our government. You know, there were a lot of pardons out there, but there were a lot of people who were not pardoned. And if you targeted someone, if you went after someone because of their political affiliation, we will be investigating you. We will be looking at you, because that's the weaponization, and it has to stop. For instance, look what they're continuing to do, as I said, to Elon Musk. They are targeting Tesla dealerships, the stations where you charge a Tesla. They're vandalizing cars. I have already directed an investigation be opened to see how is this being funded, who is behind this, doing this. We have people we're locking up on that. We have someone in jail right now from one of the dealerships. They threw a Molotov cocktail through a dealership. They're looking at up to 20 years in prison.
That's crazy. I didn't know that they threw a Molotov cocktail through a dealership. What kind of unhinged, crazy psychopath does that? Throwing a Molotov. What if they killed somebody? Then they go to jail for murder. What a dummy.
So if you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership, do anything, you better watch out, because we're coming after you. Wow. And if you're funding this, we're coming after you. We're going to find out who you are.
Soros.
So, I mean, in terms of the Russia collusion story, is there any work on that? Are you going to try to find out who, in fact, pushed this lie that Trump colluded back in 2017?
Maria, we have teams of lawyers working nonstop on every issue you can imagine to end the weaponization. And what you're saying, that will put an end to the weaponization, all the lies, everything that's happened. It's over. It's a new day. We also want to move forward and fight violent crime.
Of course. And you also recently formed an internal DOJ team to work with DOGE on the cost-cutting measures. What can you tell us? Because they're going to dig into the nation's top law enforcement divisions, reviewing their internal budget reviews to find savings, right?
Yeah, the massive amounts of money that have been wasted. Truly, we know. I don't think any of us, Elon couldn't even dream how big the massive amounts of money were that's been taken from your tax dollars, from my tax dollars, and just squandered away to foreign countries all over the world, the USA, the EPA, and they're fighting us on that. They're trying to force us to pay this money out. We're not going to do it. We have teams of lawyers fighting to protect our tax dollars, and we're going to continue to do that. Of course, we're going to lose in these liberal district courts, but we will win in the Supreme Court. We will prevail. Donald Trump will control the budget. These agencies will control where their money goes. You know, it was a setup from the beginning by...
All the liberals are upset because DOGE is going in there and cutting all the waste, fraud, and abuse. All these people, they've been making money, so much money, and they're upset now that DOGE is coming in and cutting everything. I want to jump back real quick regarding the fentanyl. The fentanyl coming across the border. I know a couple people that have overdosed off of that stuff thinking it was something else, and they overdosed. I know a couple folks that have died from that. That is a gnarly thing. Another thing that's come up too, that they sell at gas stations is a supplement called Kratom. Kratom is another gnarly thing that I think should be a scheduled drug. Jason says they're locking up my Doritos, man. They're locking up. I can't believe they're locking up Doritos. Real Nye, the science guy, says, and charging $20 for a stick of deodorant. Yeah, that is crazy. I think my deodorant's up there too. Like $12 or something like that. What's up, Kathy? Kathy in the house. Jason says, NGO funds. Patrick Kennedy says, I'm going to be banned from everywhere. No, man. You're not banned on Discord, that's for sure. Oh. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard about this supplement called Kratom. Kratom is a gnarly thing, too. My mind says I only smoke weed. Yeah, that's what it is at Walgreens, about $12 for a stick of deodorant. Yeah, I think I use Dr. Squash. Is it Dr. Squash? Let me check the cost on that. I think Dr. Squash is, $12. $12. 19 for 2 on Amazon. That's just what I use. That's what I like to use. How many of you guys like Pam Bondi? Let me know in the chat. How many of you guys like Pam Bondi? Terry says, I use Dove. $12 for deodorant. Come to Ohio, maybe 6. Yeah, baking soda works. Baking soda. I was actually thinking about making my own deodorant. I made my own laundry detergent. Patrick Kennedy says, I do not like Pam. No, Sam, I do not like Pam and green eggs and ham. She seems to have a good mouthpiece on her, though. She has a good mouthpiece. She has a good record. There's a couple things that I'm kind of, Trump came out earlier today about the Epstein stuff and the MLK and the RFK or the JFK stuff, the JFK files. he came out today and talked about that. But we were promised the JFK files, what, 30, 40 days ago? Jason says, Pam is awesome. Real killer attitude. Yeah, I think she does. I think she has a real killer attitude. I think she does. She's up and down. She's Pinecone 13 says she had an up and down start, but I like her. I like her too. My mind says she needs to move a little faster on those Epstein files. I agree. Stephanie says, I like Pam. She's struggling coming in, but it's because they're making it difficult for her. I agree with that. Her and Cash, now Bongino. Today was Bongino's last show. They're making it tough for them. They're jumping on a ship where the crew doesn't really like them. Catherine says, I like Pam Bondi so far. That bunk report of the Epstein had me mad, but we know she said within 45 days. Yep. So, I like Pam. We'll see. We'll see how it rolls out. I think she's doing a decent job. She's jumping on a ship where the crew doesn't like her. But now Bongino's coming on board. Cash had a speech today, which was pretty good at the DOJ. She did a very good speech as well. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I thought it was very good. And I think I feel that she's doing her business. I feel that she's getting her stuff done. And I feel that she's getting things handled as fast as she can. Terry says, nothing can be easy, especially when you got Dems pushing you to the limit. And that's the situation. They're giving pushback on particular situations. They're giving pushback on files. We saw that with SDNY. The files weren't being released. They can request the files, and they didn't come. So I get where she's coming at. JD Vance clashes with a heckler after the housing crisis, after tying the housing crisis to immigration. We want Americans to afford the American dream. Hecklers object to VP JD Vance stating the connection between mass migration and housing prices. If you allow 20 million people in to the United States, they're going to need housing. This is just what it is. Let's jump into this real quick.
The cost of energy, these things.
Actually, I got something better than that one. But yeah, despite the controversy, Vance maintains that restrictions on undocumented immigration is essential to easing the housing burden to American citizens. I think he's right on this. I'd love to know what you guys think. Drop it down in the chat, or drop it down in the comment section down below. But I think he's right on this.
Up, they could afford a nice home on a single middle class income. And she was sort of mentioning this as a sorrowful thing. She was sad that that wasn't true for her generation. And I think all of us in this room, certainly including me, have a little bit more work to do, I think, to make housing more affordable. And I want to talk about that because I think it's the issue where our interests in some ways are most aligned with the people in this room. Now, I read recently that the average income it takes to buy a new house is nearly 2 times the average salary of your typical American family. Not the average American worker, but the combined incomes of a husband and wife. And that's just not acceptable or sustainable in the United States of America. We want Americans to be able to afford the American dream of homeownership because we know that when people own their homes, it makes them a stakeholder. It makes them a stakeholder in their neighborhoods, in their cities, and ultimately, of course, in this country that all of us love so much.
Jason said, Springfield, Ohio is almost all government-funded rentals. Not now, almost all units are empty. Imagine that, right? Imagine that. All the homes are empty where they were housing the illegal migrants. Terry says about household situation, we had a visiting nurse come in that was 2 hours late. Okay, he's talking about his wife Kayla, about how difficult the day was today. Kayla's narcolepsy was at its peak, as well as headaches. Oh man, sending love, man, sending love and prayers your way.
We want our citizens to feel that investment in their own country, and it's hard. It's hard to feel that investment if you feel like you can't even own a slice of it, even if that's what you want to do. Now, on a more basic level, we don't want people living paycheck to paycheck. We don't want them to make trade-offs between a trip to the grocery store and meeting next month's rent. Because even if you don't yet own a home, or even if you don't ever want to own a home, the knowledge that if you work hard and spend wisely, eventually you'll be able to afford a nice place to live, that goes, I think, a very long way to giving people a sense that they belong here and a sense that they have a stake in the future. Now, there are some important reasons why that belief is dwindling among Americans today. And a lot of it, of course, comes from the historic inflation that this country has dealt with over the last 4 years. Now, under the previous administration, get a little bit political, the cost of a median price home in America more than doubled, and that was just in 4 years. And if your salary didn't keep pace with inflation and rise 20%, your buying power took even a bigger hit. And of course, if you think about this, if the price of a home doubles and the price and your actual salary doesn't double, then you're a lot worse off. And we know that most Americans did not see their salary double over the last 4 years. So it's no surprise that home sales hit a 30-year low in 2024. Now,
they did. Home sales did hit an all-time low in 2024. No thanks to the Biden administration. You heard that heckler in the background. The feed on this is a little funky. I haven't watched this yet, but let me jump into some of these comments. Bop, bop, bop.
Now, another reason for the elevating costs comes down to zoning. And the reality, as you all know, is that zoning is an area where federal authority is actually quite limited. And I'm sure none of you want the federal government in the business of mandating how cities and towns handle local laws, and that's certainly not what we want to do either. But I would ask everyone in this room is to be good partners with us, and certainly partners with your citizens, and think about how we can improve the costs of the costs of housing for our citizens. And I think one of the ways that we're going to have to do that is by being a little bit smarter about our local zoning rules. And in particular, when I think about zoning, I can't help but think about it without, of course, the communities that I know best, which are those that I represented in the state of Ohio. And, Columbus, Ohio in particular, I assume we've got some Columbus people here. And, Columbus is a boom town in so many ways. I've got, relatives and
feed on this is nasty. Anyways, I'm cool with JD because we got some more stuff on JD. Keith says, how you doing this evening, Tyson? As usual, I'm tuned in. I appreciate you, Keith. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate you for that. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. It's a beautiful day. Little overcast out here in Vegas right now. Chilly. Chilly for me is relative to some of you guys in the Midwest, but it's pretty chilly out. A little windy. But other than that, I'm doing great. Patrick Kennedy says, I love JD, or I love Trump, but JD may be better. And I think you might be right. I like JD too. I think JD has a good shot at 2028. I think he's well-spoken, articulate, and he knows business as well. Lori says, illegals have a good sense that they belong here. Yeah, they do. They definitely do. Oh, man. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm going to jump off of this because the feed isn't very good. But it's interesting because a lot of homes in the Las Vegas area have been purchased by hedge funds, and now they are rentals. They built new homes, and they are strictly rentals. They were housing folks in some of those too. So it kind of takes away from the home ownership aspect that JD was mentioning. I think having a solid foundation of a home, period, and being able to afford good food, decent food, is important to like live a normal life, right? I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but you got to have the shelter and you got to have the food and good family and relationships in order to have stability. JD Vance defends Trump's strategy as critics warn a recession through trade wars.
I sat down with Vice President J.D. Vance at the White House. We talked tariffs, immigration, the Democrats' new hero, Mahmoud Khalil. I even got him to react to the reported tension between Elon Musk and Trump's cabinet. And there's so much more. Here's part one of my interview with the Vice President. Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for joining us today. All right, gas prices are down. It looks like inflation is easing a little bit.
Sure.
But you cannot turn on the television without hearing a business executive speak about the tariffs, the kind of whiplash on the tariffs, and some of the difficulty they're having in making long-term investments and projections because of this uncertainty.
Sure.
What can you do to reassure them that this is all going to settle out?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the president's been very clear. He wants to impose tariffs on foreign importers because he wants to bring investment and jobs back to the United States of America. So what I'd say to those business leaders is I think the president has actually been quite clear about what he wants to accomplish: build more in the United States of America, invest more in the United States of America, raise wages for workers in the United States of America,
right.
And you don't have to pay these tariffs at all. There is, as the president has said, a recognition that we have to accept, which is that, look, Joe Biden left this economy in a disaster. He ran the highest peacetime deficits we've ever had in this country. He left us with a significant debt crisis. And the president has come in and said, look, we have to accomplish a lot of things simultaneously. We have to bring down inflation, which I think we're making some good progress on. We have to actually ensure critical government services like Social Security and the military function for the American people. And we also have to force businesses to invest more, not overseas, not in Chinese workers, but in American workers. And I think we're doing all of those things. Rome wasn't built in a day, of course. This is not going to happen overnight. But I think that both businesses and workers are ultimately going to benefit from President Trump's policies.
But can you rule out the possibility, as Reagan faced in his first term in office, coming off a terrible economic calamity for the country, can you rule out a recession, even a temporary one?
Well, look, I think you never can predict the future, but I think the economy, the fundamentals of the economy are actually quite strong right now. And we'll see how this unfolds, Laura, but I think that by inducing more businesses to invest in American workers, by reshoring some of those critical supply chains, we are going to make this economy stronger over the long haul, and that is the president's ultimate goal. We have to remember, Laura, people forget 5 years ago, of course, we had the COVID crisis. And aside from the public health element of it, what it should have taught us, Laura, is we can't rely on communist China to make all the critical stuff. You had hospitals that didn't have medical supplies. You had businesses, manufacturing businesses that couldn't get core raw materials because China was shut down. What the president is doing is changing 40 years of a failed bipartisan consensus in Washington, D.C. that has sold out American workers and destroyed the underlying economic strength of the United States of America. We're going to rebuild it. It's going to take a little time, but we are going to do it.
Does that include medical device manufacturing, which most of it really went to Canada? So all these great American companies from Minnesota and Midwest shot up there to Canada, lower prices, the companies like it, but American workers lost out. So how long would this transition period be to bring those types of companies, if that's the ultimate goal, back here?
Well, look, I think it's going to take time, right? Some of the stuff, you're already seeing factories that are adding shifts for American workers. That happens immediately. Some factories, it takes 18 months or 2 years to build a new facility. So it really depends industry by industry. But the basic thrust of President Trump's economic policies is if you invest in the United States of America, you're going to be rewarded with lower taxes, lower regulations, lower energy costs. If you want to build a factory in China, that's your right, but you're going to pay when you try to bring that stuff back in the United States.
Or Italy.
Yeah, and the president made this point actually in the visit with the prime.
One of you guys in the chat said Trump's laying the tracks for JD, and I absolutely agree with that. JD is very well spoken. He's articulate. He's educated, and he knows what he's talking about. Way better than Kamala Harris. Holy smokes. I want to jump into some of these comments real quick, and then we'll jump back into this video. Here in CT, the housing market is horrible. That's what Terry said. Here in Vegas, the market is, how can I describe it? It's stable but uncertain. That is the best way that I can describe it. Those of you that don't know, I've been in the real estate space since 2012. Started flipping real estate back in 2015. It's a little uncertain in regards of turning properties or flipping properties, but I always have this thing, if somebody's on the fence about buying and they have the money to buy, I'm always a huge proponent of don't wait to buy real estate and wait. Because just through time, the appreciation, the value of the home is going to go up. It always does. Jason says, it was 70 today. Worked on 4 out of 5 broken vehicles. We were busy as hell. Get the money, man. Get it. And you see how they're pushing this recession narrative? It's a little excessive.
Prime Minister of Ireland yesterday, that the European Union has in some ways been the worst on American workers and American industries of anybody. They're imposing ridiculous tariffs. They say that they're our most important ally. And of course, we care about European security, Laura, but they don't treat us like an ally when it comes to economics. They actually hammer American consumers and American workers in the process. The president, you know, the thing that underlies all this, Laura, is of course a defense of the American worker, but a recognition that we're not going to take unfairness anymore. If Europeans do something to us, we're actually going to fight back economically. For the first time in 40 years, we have a president who's standing up for America.
Yeah, I mean, your hometown, Ohio, destroyed. Akron, all these wonderful American cities, totally just kicked to the dirt for decades. Exactly, and all those people were told, learn to code, do other things. Yeah. And now it's going to be a difficult period. How long do you think that transition period will be?
Well, again, Laura, I think it really depends on what kind of industry, what kind of factory that we're talking about. I mean, you're already seeing instantly some factories, especially in the automobile sector, who are announcing they were going to move to Mexico under Joe Biden. Now they're actually building capacity here in the United States. Some factories that are idle part of the time, they're turning on additional shifts. So I think sometimes it's going to take a while. Sometimes it's going to happen immediately. It really is a case-by-case thing. But the underlying trend is invest in America and you're going to do well as a business.
But the whiskey manufacturers, come on. And they're screaming today because it looks like the president might slap some retaliatory tariffs on Europe. Europe came back to us and said, oh, no, we're going to hit your whiskey. Trump then says, we're going to up you. It's like a game of chicken here, trade chicken, 200% on champagnes and wines to France. Now, that will destroy the French winemaking business, but they've been really tough on our winemaking industry for years.
Well, that's exactly the point. Look, Europe doesn't have the cards here. As President Trump likes to say, when you have actually penalized American companies and American workers, as the EU has for years, we're actually fighting back for the first time. But, Laura, we have a $1 trillion trade deficit. We absorb
largest
all
ever.
Of the terrible economic policies from all over the world, and the world expects American consumers to foot the bill for their workers and their businesses, and Donald Trump is flipping that on its head. We are not going to do this anymore. We cannot run an economy where Americans borrow, go into debt to buy things that other people make for us. We're going to make it in America. We have
make it in America, baby. Make it in America. There's going to be a little transition period with that, but you see a lot of companies already coming to America because they want to avoid the tariffs. Michael Upton says one way to reduce construction costs is 3D printing process. With concrete and aircrete, the electrical is in conduit, stands up to tornadoes. It basically takes place of wood or steel framing. I have not seen that yet. I have not seen 3D printed materials just yet. I'll look. I'm sure it's out there. I personally haven't seen it in person. I know that they started using almost like prefabricated homes in place of wood stick builds, and they're like Lego blocks, and they kind of connect together. Catherine says President Trump should name Soros enemy of the state. That whole Soros situation is crazy to me. This guy funds radio stations, and they don't talk a lick about him. Jason says, JD has this matter-of-fact way of talking about anything. He is a savage if you try to insult him or booby trap him. I agree. How many of you guys agree with that? How many of you guys agree with Jason's comment here? JD's grandfather was an auto repair worker. His town fell apart when U.S. Steel fell. We need U.S. Steel to make U.S. cars, to drive workers to jobs. Yep, we saw that when that all crashed down, too, in Detroit. Don't forget to smash the like button. Where's my, here it is, right here.
I think it's time to play Doge Ball.
Now you're all in big, big trouble.
Elon Musk continues to expose waste and government fraud and abuse. Oh boy, the Dems are melting down about this. Doge Ball. You guys ready to play some Doge Ball?
Member Ron Johnson joins us now. Mr. Senator, if Schumer had voted to shut down the government, he'd get the blame, and Trump would have more power to run the government as he sees fit. Schumer was in a trap. I don't think we've seen that before.
Well, first of all, understand what legitimate beef would they have to actually vote no against this? A continuing resolution just continues spending at the previous year's level. So who's in charge the previous year? Well, that was Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer. So this is their spending level. This is how they've appropriated between the accounts. So other than tweaking almost $1 trillion bill, it's $900 billion some, by a few billion up or down, it's basically their spending scheme. So, I mean, what legitimate excuse would they have to say, we just can't tolerate this one? So, yeah, in this case, I agree with Senator Schumer. I don't like shutdowns. It costs the government a whole lot more. It's not fair to the people who work for the government. And I think it would have given the president an awful lot more power. I could see the White House just sitting there, make my day, shut it down, give me even more power to, start reducing the size, scope, and cost of government.
Mr. Senator, I've been saying this is the end of an era for Democrats. Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, they seem to be done. Am I going too far?
I hope you're not. That sure would be nice to think that way. But, let's face it, from my standpoint, it was still a reasonably close election. It shouldn't have been close based on all the damage Democrats did during their governing 4 years. So America needs to open up its eyes. It's one of the beauties about what Elon Musk is doing. It's exposing just grotesque levels of waste, fraud, and abuse. Americans have to stop relying on government to the extent that they do, because government doesn't solve very many problems. It exacerbates them. It causes them while it's mortgaging our children's future.
Fox has learned that Trump is putting together a plan to slash federal spending without Congress. Can he do that? Can he cut spending without you guys?
Well, he certainly has potentially some impoundment powers. That will be figured out by the court. But generally what Elon Musk is uncovering, we're going to have to codify that, and we can either cut the spending through a rescission process that starts with the White House. That may be what you're talking about there, or through our reconciliation process. The good news, I was in the White House with President Trump yesterday, laying out, my idea, my concept of how we can return to pre-pandemic levels of government spending by looking at Clinton in 1998 or Obama in 2014 or Trump in 2019, growing those actual outlays by population growth and inflation and coming up with a baseline budget somewhere between $5.5 and $6.5 trillion to build off of. Now that's at a minimum saving $800 billion from what we're currently spending. President Trump was intrigued by that. I think he liked the idea, and I'm looking forward to working with him in the White House to flesh that all out. But, listen, any business would go through a budget like this line by line. We don't do that in Washington, D.C. I mean, members of Congress, we have no idea how this money is being spent, which is obvious based on what...
They just write checks, just blank checks. They just get on here, they write checks. They're like, oh, man, we're going to be in a deficit, so we need to print some more monopoly money. That's how they've been doing it. Terry says, now I got to watch Billy Madison later. Great movie.
DOGE is uncovering. So we need to do the work, go through a 5,000 or 6,000 line outlay budget, line by line, ask the questions, why are we spending so much more than just the inflation adjusted 2019? So again, President Trump was intrigued by it. I appreciate that fact. He certainly wants to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. There is so much room for reducing the size of the federal government and getting close, if not balancing the budget.
Go to it.
It was a clean CR bill, and Donald Trump trapped Schumer because he was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. Got him stuck. Timothy says, Dems are absolutely scared death over a shutdown. Yep, with the government shutdown, Trump and Elon could showed across the border with DOGE. The Dems would never want that to happen. Trump hasn't even been in, Joe says, Trump hasn't even been in office for 2 months yet. Look all that he's done. I'm so glad we voted for him. Amen to that. Amen to that. That's what Joe said. Ain't that the truth? It seems like he's done more in the past, 2 months than Joe Biden did in 4 years? At this point, get on the Trump train or shut the whole government down. I'm good with both of these options. Everything is broken now. That's what Patrick said. Yep. Catherine says they're trying to turn us into a third world country. Yeah. Colt Card says Schumer was more damned if he didn't. Absolutely, yeah. He was jacked on that decision. They had him in between a rock and a hard place. Our boy Timmy Tampon Tim is in the news. He's running town halls, and he has aspirations to become president. Good luck, Tim. Good luck, man. Didn't do so well. Your campaign sucked.
Walz is Democrat in Minnesota, a state heavily impacted by Trump's government purges and its trade war with Canada, which, of course, it borders. Governor Walz joins me now. Governor, great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Let me just start with what this all looks like from your position as governor of Minnesota. Obviously, a state right next to Canada. I imagine you have good relationships. I imagine there's a lot of trade that goes on between your state and Canada. What has this all meant for your state?
Yeah, Minnesotans like Canadians. We share a lot, and we share a great relationship. First of all, they're our biggest trading partners. It's incredibly disruptive. The number of people who cross the border both ways, Minnesotans going into Canada to work and Canadians coming into Minnesota. It's beneficial to both of our countries. Look, we get 90% of our potash, which is the fertilizer for our huge ag economy. That's real impacts on real producers, driving up costs for producers at a time when we can't sell our products because Donald Trump has this ridiculous trade war going on. And just quite honestly, the chaos and the uncertainty that it causes, so many Minnesotans are asking, when was Canada our enemy? And it makes no sense. It's very difficult as a governor to be able to set and think about budgets, to be able to think about how are we going to continue to attract folks here. And then he starts, as he did today, a day that I've dreaded as a teacher, as a parent of a student in public schools, and as governor, a senseless attack on the Department of Education. And I hope that I think your viewers know this is, there's no plan behind this. Donald Trump doesn't know how.
Let me have him continue.
Anything works. Donald Trump is this caricature that had a reality TV show that pretended like he knew how to run businesses. The reality is he doesn't. As a governor, we have to make these.
Okay, timeout, Tampon Tim. Timeout, Tampon Tim. Timeout. Okay. Ricardo says this is our boy Tampon Tim with no strings attached. Ain't that the truth? 6 of them are still stuck up in there. Tampon Tim. Okay. He literally just said, he basically said Donald Trump doesn't have any business acumen. Donald Trump was in the real estate game in New York City at its peak. He built New York City. He helped build the New York City skyline. Many successful hotels, casinos, many other business endeavors. And Tampon Tim is over here saying he doesn't have any business background. All he is a reality TV star. Tampon Tim doesn't even own a house. He's been paid through the government his entire career. He's never run a business. I don't think he even has stocks. Not that that matters. But this guy has openly stated that he doesn't even own a home. And it is ridiculous to critique somebody who's ran successful businesses like Donald Trump. Tampon Tim is a great Chinese agent. Yep. No balls, Walz. Does Walz shave his legs? I don't know. But apparently, based on his campaign commercials, he knows how to fix a carburetor without even removing it.
These things work. Local school districts have to understand what are the impacts going to be when you lay off 1,300 experts who are there to make sure that every one of our children get an equitable education. And so it's chaos. And look, I think he thrives in this. And then he tells his supporters that only he can fix it. He's the guy who goes and starts the fire and then stands there and gives directions and acts like he knows how to put the fire out. He has no clue. So
you have no clue, bro. You have no clue. You've been paid off of government funding your entire career. If anybody has a clue, it is the two people that are doing the cuts right now, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. This guy's just nervous because they can't put tampons in the boys' bathroom anymore. That's a whole nother story. Boys can't have periods. So why are you putting tampons in there? It's crazy. Stephanie says, basically, he admitted with his no bank account, he knows nothing about Trump's career, but binge watches reality television. Yeah, he probably hopped on Amazon Prime. I think The Apprentice Season 1 is on Amazon Prime. Not a fan of Tampon Tim. Yeah, Elon Musk is a billionaire. And this guy's still a Tampon Tim is still a quote unquote government servant, okay? Letting his city burn. He just let his city burn.
VP candidate ever, if you ask me, Tim Walz. Well, he wants to be the worst presidential candidate ever. Is Tim Walz really contemplating running in 2028? Surely not, Link. Surely not.
Well, I don't think there are going to be any big donors for Tim Walz, and politics is all about money, right? So if the donors aren't there, then Tim Walz really doesn't have a campaign whatsoever moving into 2028. But this just shows how delusional Tim Walz actually is, that he even thinks he could be a front runner in 2028. I mean, America does not want an overgrown Disney adult with a questionable internet search history running the country. I don't even want Tim Walz near a McDonald's playground, let alone in charge of the nuclear code. So he's very, very delusional. He might have a career on Broadway. He's got those Bob Fosse jazz hands. That would be great for Tim Walz. But in presidential politics, absolutely not.
How many of you guys agree with Link Loren there? He has the jazz hands. I don't think anybody would back Tim Walz. It is about backing, and nobody's gonna back that dude. Cackle has a better chance of winning in 2028 than Tampon Tim. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Stephanie just brought it up. He said this dude's family took a photo in MAGA gear. They don't even like you. They don't even think you're qualified. They didn't even support you during your vice presidential campaign. Your family doesn't even like you. How do you think that the American people don't even like you? Catherine says, no, he's lame. It's crazy that he even thinks that he has even an inch of potentially running for 2028. Yeah, he's really bad. He was a really bad VP pick. Imagine that. Imagine, just take a minute and imagine how we would look if they would have won. We got AOC going off on Schumer. This is another one too, AOC. Girl.
Urging people to call their senators, tell them to vote no on cloture, which allows the bill to go forward for a vote of just a simple majority, and to vote no on the vote for a simple majority on the Republican bill. What do you say to the counter argument of like a government shutdown hurts the country, hurts the people you represent? From Queens and the Bronx.
Absolutely, and that is why House Democrats have laid out a plan, as well as several Senate Democrats laid out a plan to keep government open for another 30 days as Republicans negotiate a deal with Democrats in order to have an extended government funding bill.
But the House would have to come back into session, right?
But House Democrats are in town. We're afraid of working? Is that the problem here? That the idea that, God forbid, members of Congress have to fly back and do their jobs? Genuinely, come on.
So Chuck Schumer, I guess the Senate Democratic leader, your senator, said at this meeting that he is going to vote for cloture. He is going to vote to allow there to be a simple majority vote. You think that's wrong?
I believe that's a tremendous mistake. Yes.
Why?
I think, well, first and foremost, the American people, if anyone has held a town hall or has seen what has been happening in town halls, American people, whether they are Republicans, independents, Democrats, are up in arms about Elon Musk and the actual gutting of federal agencies across the board. This continuing resolution codifies much of this chaos that Elon Musk is is wreaking havoc on the federal government. It codifies many of those changes. It sacrifices and completely eliminates congressional authority in order to review these impulsive Trump tariffs that he's switching on and off. And on top of that, for folks who are concerned about effectiveness in government, this Republican extreme spending bill removes all of the guardrails and all of the accountability measures to ensure that money is being spent in the way that Congress has directed for it to be spent. This turns the federal government into a slush fund for.
What has it been? It has been a slush fund, AOC. Somebody said bar wench. Oh, man. Man. Jake Tapper, too. Democrats turn on their own people. Ain't that the truth? AOC, she's already won the primary. Yeah. She's just trying to get a seat, too. Her and Newsom with his jazz hands. Did you guys see him the other day? I've never seen anybody use hand gestures so much like Gavin Newsom does. Her and AOC, him and AOC. Jason says bar wench. Oh, man. AOC, best media representation was when she did the sexy dance for college. Oh. Oh, boy. Oh, man. She's... Yeah, her staffer self-deported. Why? Exactly. AOC. Good for her. Keep it going, AOC. Keep burning bridges. Keep burning bridges. AOC rages against Democrats for the betrayal amid government talks for the shutdown. For the betrayal, she says. Golly. What a joke. They need some new people. Let's jump into this county arrest. County arrest 26 in the largest fentanyl bust ever. This is what the deputies had to say. Largest bust in fentanyl. Pam Bondi in this image right here. Pam Bondi was holding up fentanyl. She said, I don't remember the statistics on it, but that amount of fentanyl can kill a bunch of people. You just need a small amount of fentanyl. Sheriff Marcos R. Lopez hosted a press conference 2:30 on Thursday detailing the investigation. Lopez says 3-month-long investigation was deemed my brother's keeper. During the operations, deputies said 26 people were arrested on drug trafficking charges, and there are more arrests made in the future. Officers said 26 officers arrest. 26 of the arrests were tied to what was essentially a drug business, with drugs and money moving as throughout the group.
We all ready? We'll make sure everybody's ready. In this operation, we had a total of 26 people arrested for drug trafficking charges, and we believe there may be more to come. These 26 people were all tied to what was essentially a drug business. All these people were moving drugs and money around Osceola and Orange County as a group. They kept this business alive and thriving right under our noses. As of today, I'm happy to say this business is closed. We have shut down this operation, shut down their customers, and shut down one of the largest fentanyl operations in one investigation that I have seen since I have been here at this agency. Before I go any further, I have to express my greatest thanks to the Office of Statewide Prosecution. Nicole, she's here. She down here? Wave, say hi. You know, in order to get good cases prosecuted, it's important to have this partnership with the state attorney's office. And she was here, she helped spearhead this and work together with our agents. And I'm sure they were calling her at different times, 400 and something thousand. It could potentially wipe out every one man, woman, and child people. Around 400 and something thousand. It could potentially wipe out every one man, woman, and child here. And you don't use a bomb, you don't have a military. What you have is people illegally pushing this poison into our communities. And that's what we're here to do, to stop that. So we have heard all kind of cases where a child's exposed to fentanyl or dies. Law enforcement officers being exposed during an investigation who tragically overdose. So roughly 1.3 kilograms of fentanyl seized here. Over 1 kilogram of cocaine seized, 53 grams of cannabis, roughly $73,000 in cash, 9 different firearms, and examples of those firearms are here. We seized 5 different vehicles.
I didn't know people were still drug dealing cannabis on the streets.
We even seized a house we believe that was purchased with drug money and used for drug operations. Everyone here that you see in this PowerPoint, they are in one shape, way, or form connected and dealing drugs, poisoning our community. On top of all that, we saw another issue come up in this case. We saw one of the things that we're facing, immigration, illegal immigration. One of the guys arrested in this operation is Johan Francisco Angulo Ramon. Okay, right here he is. He's illegal, okay? And this is an example of the people we don't want in our country. He comes here not to work, not to do anything nice, not to be a friend of anyone. He's here to destroy our families. So he's one of the guys that was arrested for dealing this poison. And guess what? He's got a deportation order already in place. Good. They're looking at him. So once he serves, hopefully, however many years he gets out of this for what he did, he'll be deported. So good job. And
adios, amigo. He looks so joyful. Catherine says, yep, and they lace it with other more addictive drugs. Yeah. It's crazy. This fentanyl is gnarly. Oh, man. Timothy says, thank you to all our Leos. Y'all are awesome, USA. Check this out. So, this police chief, John Pelletier, okay, was named in a Combs-related lawsuit. John Pelletier was also he's currently Miami police chief. John Pelletier was named in a lawsuit related to gang ape involving Sean P. Diddy Combs. Pelletier first came in the spotlight, listen to this, in 2017, leading the response to the Las Vegas mass shooting that left 60 people dead. He was in Las Vegas. Interesting. Now he's tied to Sean Diddy Combs. Seems like he might be a dirty cop.
Maui's police chief, a famous football player, and a comedian are among the high-profile men accused in a civil lawsuit of participating in or facilitating crimes alongside Sean Diddy Combs. The chief and others say it's not true. But now Maui's mayor is asking the police commission to place the chief on leave while it's being investigated. Gina Mangieri has more. Gina?
Well, rapper Sean Diddy Combs is in custody awaiting federal criminal trial on racketeering and sex trafficking charges.
Yeah,
and now a civil lawsuit filed in federal court in California alleges current Maui Police Chief John Pelletier served as security and facilitator for Combs, sometimes impersonating law enforcement jurisdictions. A nearly 90-page lawsuit accuses John Pelletier of serving as muscle for Sean Diddy Combs in California and Las Vegas, several years before Pelletier left Las Vegas to become Maui County Chief of Police. The same suit accuses NFL player Odell Beckham Jr. and a comedian known as Drewski of rape. We asked the Chief, County, Police Commission, and Police Union for a response. A Maui Police Department spokesperson says the chief has no connection to anyone in the suit. We are confident that the evidence will demonstrate these claims to be false and will expose those who are deliberately trying to manipulate the legal system to spread misleading narratives. The union declined to comment. We asked the plaintiff's attorney for additional...
Why'd they draw Sean Diddy Combs like that?
Comment too, without reply. Beckham Jr. said on his social media, "I really can't even believe that my name is mentioned in that matter. There was absolutely no truth to those allegations." Drewski said on social "This allegation is a fabricated lie. I was broke living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation. So the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish." KHON2's legal analyst explains why high-profile people can be targeted by lawsuits.
It's not uncommon at all for...
We already know why high-profile people can be targeted through lawsuits.
2018, when Pelletier was still on the main... The accusations date back to 2018, when Pelletier was still on the mainland with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. He is accused, among other things, of posing as a Contra Costa California sheriff in order to deter a woman from filing a rape charge.
I think the thing about high-profile people is that they do have a strong presence in terms of anybody being able to Google or determine whether or not somebody is actually in the vicinity and then accuse them of doing something because they were in that location. Again, we don't know. Maybe these specific allegations are true, but the best thing to do is to wait for the lawsuit to play out and find out whether they are true or completely false.
Other unnamed plaintiffs alleged Pelletier arrested them at gunpoint in Las Vegas under bogus warrant charges and restrained them in his home.
He looks like a dirty cop. What do you guys think? He just looks like one of those guys that'll plant drugs on you. Catherine says, it's awful about the fentanyl. My friend passed away, and he didn't know it was fentanyl. Yep, they're lacing that stuff. Catherine says, I guarantee it's true. Diddy didn't do it all alone. Colt Card says, man, it's funny what you can find out when you have good leadership. Yep. The Biden administration just let all this slide. This dude, Sean Diddy Combs, was doing stuff with all the presumable people on the white party list or the freak-offs or whatever they were called. Stephanie says, Cat Williams wasn't playing around. He said, keep sipping and spilling the tea. Yeah, he was in Maui, Catherine. He was in Maui. All those missing children during the fire. Yep. Yeah, you guys agree. He does look like a dirty cop.
Alleged Pelletier kept a list of safe houses for parties. The lawsuit involving Pelletier is a civil matter. Combs' case is criminal, involving sex trafficking, plus numerous civil lawsuits.
There's a difference between a civil...
They're saying he had safe houses and he was artificially arresting people. Yeah, this dude looks dirty, man. Look at him. He looks like one of them dirty cops on an HBO show. So why, if the accusations aren't true, why'd he go on leave then? I don't know. You guys tell me. Stephanie says he looks like Frankenstein with no hair. Yeah, too many coincidences here, Ozzy Greg says. I agree with that. Too many coincidences. This guy's dirty. Charlemagne. You guys know Charlemagne. Charlemagne has a radio show called The Breakfast Club. Charlemagne's been trying to stand up for the Democrat Party. And he's not doing a very good job because they're not doing a lot to justify his claims. Listen to this.
For everybody to see while you were talking, a caller on the Breakfast Club radio show criticized Democrats while praising President Trump for keeping campaign promises.
Man, I'll never vote for another Democrat again.
Why? What's up?
How do Trump sign 100 executive orders and you get a million promises from a Democrat, but they don't never come through with one promise they give you?
You know, brother, you're not wrong. You know, you got one party that's about action and you got one party that's about inaction. And, you know, so I was literally having that conversation with a good friend of mine this week. That is why people have soured on Democrats. You know, regardless of what Republicans are doing, you see Republicans doing something. I can't see Democrats getting back in office no time soon unless something changes drastically.
A recent poll found 70% of voters feel President Trump kept his campaign promises.
Yep.
And there's more to come. A list of accomplishments so far, though, include inflation trending downward, low gas prices, egg prices falling, border encounters plummeting, and a possible peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. And now, just today, and we pray that this American makes it home safely from the clutches of those Hamas savages, the release potentially from Hamas in a ceasefire situation of the last American known alive and 4 dual citizens' bodies coming home. I mean, just amazing, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, what we're seeing is when President Trump, before he even got in office, he said, look, the hostages must come home. And what we've seen is that he's been full support behind Israel. That's what's been missing. We've been missing the decisiveness to say, look, we are going to defeat.
Ricardo's jumping out of here. Big storm coming in. There's a storm brewing near Ricardo, so send prayers. He says, let me pop this on the screen here. Big storm coming in, getting scary, got to shut down. Keep us in your prayers. You're great, Tyson. Thank you so much, Ricardo. Stay safe out there. I'll be sending some prayers tonight. Thanks for tuning in, Ricardo. Really appreciate you. Stay safe out there.
Our enemies. We are not going to be, kowtowing to Hamas or Iran, and we're seeing real leadership. And that's the real difference with President Trump.
So, Fred, the lesson in all of this might be just find your way and stick to it, and don't take a poll and figure out which way the wind is blowing to make your way forward.
Well, I think that's a lesson for all parties, including President Trump. I mean, we talk about his tariffs and, we're going to double tariffs on Canada. Oh, wait, the stock market is falling and people are unhappy. I'm going to pull those back. So, I mean, people do appreciate authenticity from both sides.
Last word, Jim.
Timothy says, The Breakfast Club, damn, he ruined a real good movie. That was The Breakfast Club is a real good movie. 2 movies. The Billy Madison's a great movie. Breakfast Club, solid movie too. Yeah, promises made, promises kept. They're doing something, right? The Biden administration didn't do anything. They did nothing. Listen to this. I found this story this afternoon. Mega Trump pastor indicted for sex charges. How many of you guys have seen Righteous Gemstones? It's a parody on mega churches with Danny McBride in it. Pretty funny. Texas megachurch founder Robert Morris indicted for sex charges. Robert Morris founded Gateway Church in 2000. He resigned a year after a woman accused him of sexual abuse. He was part of Trump's Evangelist Advisory Board in 2016. It's interesting when you look at the headlines, you immediately see Trump's evangelist advisor accused of sex charges, specifically coming from MSDNC or CNN, things like that.
One of North Texas's most prominent megachurches is facing child sex charges. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. An Oklahoma grand jury indicted Gateway Church founder Robert Morris on 5 felony counts. The allegations emerged in June of last year when the Christian Post published a woman's story alleging she was abused by Morris starting at the age of 12. The church first said it was aware of Morris's past, quote, moral failure, then later said it did not know her age, the victim's age, or the extent of the abuse. 3 days later, Morris resigned from Gateway.
How do you not know the age, right? I understand, but this how do you not know the age? I know 17, 16-year-olds, they're developed, but they act young.
In November, Gateway announced it removed multiple elders who knew the victim's age at the time of the abuse, and now Morris is facing those criminal charges. Casey Stiegel in studio with the developing story. Casey.
Yeah, good evening. This was a case that garnered national attention last summer and brought down the man who founded one of the largest mega churches in the country. But tonight, disgraced pastor Robert Morris faces more than embarrassing accusations. He's now staring down felony charges for his.
Catherine says she was 12 years old. Okay, you know the difference. At least I have enough emotional intelligence to know what a 12-year-old girl looks like. Patrick Kennedy said wood chipper. So many of these cults taking advantage of people's vulnerability. I agree. I think that's what turns off a lot of people from church.
His alleged misconduct. The 5-page.
Yeah. Anyways, I saw this story. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? This is what gives churches bad names, right? This is the type of stories that stick in people's mind. Crazy. All right. Let's jump into this last one here. We got Jasmine Ghetto Crockett. Jasmine Ghetto Crockett.
Are sending your kids to college to go and work on them. Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food. So that you can have food. So that you can have food. Now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do here. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. These are the people that are really making us great in this country.
She's basically saying here, it's like if you're deporting all the illegals, who's gonna cut my lawn? Who's gonna pick our crops? What? Americans, American farmers. Who's gonna? You know, this is the hypocrisy in some of this statement here. Who's gonna clean your house? Timothy says, wow, 12 years old. Yeah, it's sickening. Anybody who does that to a little kid should honestly, American History X has a good visual. It's a movie called American History X of a good visual of what somebody should go through if they do anything to a kid. And you know what? They don't like pedos. They don't like people that do that to kids in prison, because that's what's going to happen to you. Not the curb stomp, but the jail scene. They should be shot. Honestly, they should be shot. Jason says, private school girl cosplaying as a ghetto girl. Yep, that is Jasmine Crockett. They do this to appease to the black voters. You saw that what they did with Kamala Harris. Oh, she's black. She's not even black. She wasn't even black. She's Irish and Jewish with a tan and Indian. The first black vice president. They just needed somebody. I'm gonna run. I decided right now. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna be the second black president. I'm gonna be the second black female president. Oh man. Catherine says she's a liar anyway. Did she say, who is working the farms? Yeah. It's crazy. Ghetto trash. Steph says, don't do it. Candace will crush you. Yeah. I'm going to be the first. I'm going to be the second black female president. Candace is going to come after me. Candace Owens is going to come after me. She's going to be like, he's not even a woman. Oh man, if she's going ghetto, she's going to need a fire alarm chirp. She should just have that as her ringtone. I think people are dumb. But they are not. I see plenty of strong black people who can't stand her. Yep. Does she have a tramp stamp? I don't know. What do you guys think the odds are of her having a tramp stamp? I'm not sure. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Jasmine Ghetto Crockett. Real quick. I want to show you this real quick. Hold on. We were talking about Gavin Newsom. Here we go. Look at Gavin's hands here.
I appreciate the notion of agency, that we're not bystanders in the world. It's decisions, not conditions, that determine our fate and future. And that fundamental notion of agency, I think, is important more broadly. And I think that goes to some of the issues around, victimization. And I see a lot of that, respectively, on the right, increasingly, even with Trump often approaching things from that sort of mindset.
What do you mean? What do you mean for Trump?
I think there's sort of.
Oh, man. Who talks like that? Do any of you guys in the chat use your hands like that? I know I use my hands a lot when I talk, but I don't articulate every single word. I don't know. Maybe he has a deaf child. I don't know his situation, but maybe he has a deaf child and does sign language. I'm giving him benefit of the doubt here. I have no idea what he's doing. Listen to what Tyrus had to say about this.
It looked to me like he was negotiating with a deaf prostitute. If you go back and watch the tape,
yes,
he literally goes, I want some of this, then you do some of this, and I'll do some of that back to you, and then we'll do this, and then I'll pay you, and then we'll do it again.
Oh, boy. All right, guys, I am going to jump off here. But before I do, I want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat. I want to give a shout out to the moderators in the chat. Without the moderators, this wouldn't be what it is. So shout out to the moderators in the chat. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. Thank you for joining us this lovely Friday evening. I really, really, truly appreciate you guys. And if you're not part of the Discord group, the Discord group is in the description link down below. Drop into the Discord group. You can connect with like-minded patriots just like yourself in the Discord group. Shout out to Timothy for the new sub. Shout out to Timothy for joining in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What is up, Bright Star? And yeah, if you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comments section. This is going to be the new time, 6 p.m. We're going to be rocking at 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. We'll do some cuts. I'll do some cuts and drop the cuts during the week. During the weekend. I'll drop some new videos during the weekend also to mix it up. But yeah, and then before you jam out of here, be sure to smash the subscribe button and smash the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithms. Share, subscribe, please, kindly. Other than that, guys, drop your comments down below, smash the like button, and I will catch you guys on the next one. We'll chat soon. Thank you guys so much.